We have sent humans to the moon. We have landed robots on Mars. We have photographed galaxies billions of light years away. But right now, as you watch this, there is a world beneath the ocean that no human has ever seen. And it covers more surface area than every continent on Earth combined. Not some of it, most of it. 80% of the ocean is completely unmapped, unexplored, and unknown. We like to think we live on a discovered planet. We don't. We live on a world where the deepest, largest environment on Earth is essentially a blank space on the map. And the little we have managed to find down there has shocked every scientist who looked. Things that shouldn't exist, sounds that have never been explained, creatures that break every rule biology thought it had. This isn't about what's out there in space. The most alien place in the universe might be directly underneath you right now. You'd think by 2024, with all our technology, we'd have figured out how to explore underwater. We haven't. And the ocean has very specific reasons why. Pressure is the first problem. Every 10 meters you descend, the pressure increases by the equivalent of an entire atmosphere crushing down on you. By the time you reach the deepest point of the ocean, the pressure is 1,000 times what you feel right now. That doesn't just hurt a submarine, it obliterates it. Then sunlight disappears completely at around 1,000 meters. Below that is permanent, total darkness across a space so massive it dwarfs every landscape on the surface. Radio signals don't penetrate water, GPS doesn't work, communication becomes nearly impossible. Building something that survives all of that costs as much as a space launch, sometimes more, and it can only explore a fraction of the ocean floor in a single mission. Space turned out to be the easier problem to solve. That's not a metaphor, that is literally what happened. The little we have explored has already broken science multiple times. In 1977, researchers discovered hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor, cracks in the Earth's crust spewing superheated water hot enough to melt lead. And surrounding those vents were entire ecosystems, thriving, dense, completely cut off from sunlight, from photosynthesis, from every energy source biology said life required. That single discovery rewrote the definition of life on Earth and forced scientists to completely rethink where life might exist elsewhere in the universe. Since then, it has kept going. Transparent skulled fish, jellyfish that biologically reverse their own aging process. Creatures that produce light in colors human eyes can barely register. Sharks that have been alive since before the American Revolution. And here's the number that should stop you cold. Scientists estimate that 91% of ocean species have never been identified. Not hidden in unexplored areas, already encountered, already recorded, still unidentified. We don't even know what we've already found. In 1997, underwater microphones captured a sound so loud it was heard across 5,000 kilometers of open ocean. 5,000 kilometers. That is wider than the continental United States from coast to coast. One sound traveling that far, through water. Scientists named it the bloop, and for years nobody could explain what made it. The sound had biological characteristics, meaning it behaved like something a living creature produced. But whatever organism could generate a sound that large would have to be bigger than anything we have ever found in the ocean. They eventually settled on an ice quake as the explanation, but the fact that it took years to even reach a theory tells you everything about how little we understand what is happening down there. There are underwater rivers flowing silently along the ocean floor with their own banks and currents. There are lakes beneath the ocean so chemically dense that any creature that accidentally swims into one is dead within seconds. Every answer the ocean gives us comes with 3 questions we hadn't thought to ask. Here's what makes all of this more than just interesting. The ocean isn't a passive backdrop to life on Earth. It is the engine running everything. It produces over half the oxygen in every breath you take right now. Not the Amazon. The ocean, it absorbs 30% of all human carbon emissions every single year, acting as the only reason climate change hasn't moved faster than it already has. It controls global temperature, weather systems, and the water cycle that keeps every living thing on land alive. And we understand roughly 20% of how it actually functions. We are entirely dependent on a system we cannot see and have barely studied. As ocean temperatures rise and deep ecosystems shift, the effects ripple upward in ways scientists are only beginning to trace. We built telescopes pointed at distant stars centuries before we built machines capable of reaching our own ocean floor. The most consequential, unexplored place in the known universe is not in space. It is 3 kilometers beneath the surface of the water, covering most of this planet, and we have barely touched it.